Good evening. Everybody could please try and find a seat. They're all the same price. You don't have to worry about that. And welcome to the Spring District 4 and 5 Town Hall meeting. Thank you for coming, and for those that are watching at home, thank you for tuning in. And also thank you to the residents in. This is a beautiful facility. They've been very generous with letting us use it. Has anybody stayed here or had somebody stay here that they know, or have you ever been here before? It's just a gorgeous facility, just incredible. So about the agenda tonight, this is a joint town hall between the Board of Supervisors and the school board. It is free. There's no charge tonight. You don't see anybody out there scalping tickets, I hope. It's open to the public. There's no politicking here tonight. No one will ask you for endorsement or money or contribution. This is an information session, not a political rally. This is an effort by the county government to bring the government out of the county administration building and out into the districts. And we have these throughout the county. This is the eastern end town hall. We have one in the central, one in the west. They're all open to the public and they're all open to all districts. So you can feel free to attend one or more. If you want to attend all three, that's great. You get the perfect attendance ribbon. I'm going to first introduce a few people here that you may or may not know already. And as I mentioned your name, you can raise your hand if you're here. If you're not, don't raise your hand. First, the Board of Supervisors, District 1, Susan Lascalette. At District 2, Neil Spoonhour. Yes, thank you. And he's currently the chair. District 3, John Lumpkins. District 4, Charlie Waters. You may or may not have met Charlie Waters before. He was appointed to fill out the remaining term for Supervisor Sharp, who unfortunately had passed away. But we are residing right now in District 4, so this is District 4, so he's technically the host tonight. So thank you, Charlie, for hosting this event in District 4. On the school board, District 1, Sandra Bedford Reed. District 2, Angela Allen. District 3, Karen Horn is here. There she is. All right, welcome. District 4, Mike Newman. Mike, there he is. Thank you. And District 5, Mr. John J.D. Wright. Yes, thank you for coming. And of course, the superintendent of schools, Dr. Rayleigh, is here as well. Dr. Rayleigh, thanks for being here. We're here. You got a fan club. Yeah. I was supposed to say thanks, Mom. And you'll hear more from Dr. Rayleigh later on. From the county side, we also have our county administrator, Mr. Vic Carpenter, here as well. Vic, welcome. And you'll hear more from him as well as he presents the budget as we go forward. We also have the elected sheriff, Stephen Creasy, is here. Thank you for being here. This is going to be the safest place in the county right now. We've got a lot of deputies with you. Thank you for that. And the fire chief, Chief Eddie Ferguson, is here as well. Chief, thank you for all you do on a daily basis. We have some members of staff here as well that help put this on tonight. The event planning there's a lot that goes into it. If you're here from the county staff and I haven't called your name, just raise your hand real quick. So look at all the county staff we got here. Now, folks, these guys worked all day long in the office. And now they're here tonight in overtime, extra innings, working really hard. Let's give them a round of applause. And I think there's a thing called the Monacan Soil and Water District. Where's Jonathan Lyle? Is he here tonight? Oh, there he is. Did I get that right? The Monacan Soil and Water? Great. Well, thank you for being here as well. Thank you for all you do for food, soil, water, because we all consume those things. And so thank you for protecting those natural resources. Thank you. Let's see. So tonight, we scheduled this event before the March Madness started. So you don't need to check your cell phones for the scores. I don't need to check because I went to the military academy at West Point. And I think our basketball team is playing golf right now. You may or may not know there's a height restriction. You can't get in at over 6'6". And with Purdue having a center that's 7'4", there's a little bit of a disadvantage there. We end up with a 5-person, everybody's 6'6" basketball team. But anyway, March Madness is starting. All your teams are still in. No one's been eliminated yet, so that's the good news. So tonight, what we do is we bring out in the spring, we bring out the budget, the county budget. This is for fiscal year 2024, believe it or not. It starts on the 1st of July of this year and goes through June 30th of 24. But we bring it out while it's still in draft form, and we present it and say, This is your county, this is your tax dollars, this is the way we're thinking about spending it. Tell us if we're doing okay, and if we're not, tell us where we're not. And then we can make some adjustments before it's adopted and not bring it out after and say, this is the way we just spent your money. Now, I don't know if we expect the federal government to come down here and say, here's how they plan to spend your money. Is that okay with you? I don't think they do that, but we do that. This is your county. We take that very seriously. We're listening to citizens. Now, many of you may or may not know that I've chosen not to seek a fourth term. So that said, this will be my last town hall budget meeting with you. So I'm going to take about 2 seconds and do a little bit of a retrospective and look back on some of the highlights, just 2 or 3 of the highlights. We don't take vows for the things you're supposed to do in the ordinary course of the day, but there are certain things that are outside the ordinary course. For instance, we have a courthouse in Goochland. If you've been down there, it's a beautiful building. But we think you should replace the courthouse and build a new one about every 200 years. And we're running up against that 200 years, and so we're going to build a new courthouse. And we've already passed the referendum on the ballot for the funding. So that's going to happen. We also had a border dispute with Louisa that dates back to the Civil War days, about 150 years. And we thought it was time to settle that dispute, and that's been settled and put to rest. So that's been accomplished as well. We also think you should build a new elementary school about every 50 or 60 years. And we're pushing up against those timeframes. And so we did just break ground on the Goochland Elementary School. And you'll hear more about that later, but the first new elementary school in over 50 years. We also think the 911 call center, emergency call center, is a very important part of the public safety in this county. And so we built a new call center, the 911 call center, doubled the space in there for dispatchers. And we also had emergency dispatch capability, so dispatchers can dispense healthcare advice while the ambulance is on the way. We thought that was important as well. Some of us have dogs and cats, and they seem like they're more a member of the family than they are a pet. And so we built a new animal shelter, which is a beautiful facility. Some dogs and cats kind of join you at the dinner table, either at the table or below the table, and some join you in bed at night to go to sleep, or at least at the foot of the bed. So we wanted to take care of the animals in this county as well. So we have a brand new, beautiful shelter. We've also tripled the number of career firefighters in my term, and that has shortened the response time quite a bit and allowed them to be able to respond in a much quicker way if you have an emergency of that nature. And of course, the best fire is the one that never starts. And then on the sheriff's deputy side, we've almost doubled the number of sheriff deputies as well, again, to shorten the response times and provide better public safety for the county. We firehouses, again, back to the fire stations, we are planning 4 new fire stations for the county. We've already completed one, company number 6. We've got 1 in process in the eastern end of the county, and we've got 2 more planned, 1 in District 2 and 1 to replace Fire Station 2. So we've got a total of 4 planned, either planned or in progress. And we've managed to accomplish all of that with no tax increase on the real estate rate. The real estate rate is still 53 cents, and that's what it was the day I was elected. We've also increased our reserve funds and our rainy day funds through that process, rather than dipping into them and emptying them like some governments do. And during that time, we've also cut taxes. We've cut taxes on the disabled veterans. We've cut taxes on small businesses, all of them. We've cut the car tax in the past from 4 cents to $3.75. And we may take that even further in this current budget. There may be more to come there. And despite all this construction and improvements and adding staff, we didn't raise taxes. We also went for a credit rating. County, when I was elected, did not have one. No one knew what the credit quality of the county was. So after a couple of trips to New York, we were successful and went from no rating right straight to AAA, the highest rating possible across all 3 major rating agencies, Moody's, S&P, and Fitch. That took several hours of penetrating questions in front of those folks, and they asked everything about everything, and they said, you know what, you guys get a AAA. Now, the important thing about that is we have the smallest one in the country to get that. No one else our size has been able to pull that off. The next smallest county is 3 times our size. In fact, they told me, don't even bother coming up because you don't stand a chance. I said, I'm coming up anyway, and let's talk about it. And when I left, they said, you're right. So we managed to pull that off. Now that does a lot of things. One is it saves us a lot of interest when we issue bonds. Also tells the would-be businesses that might move here that we are on stable financial ground. Now, the county also received an award during my tenure from the ACCE American City and County Exchange, for being the best run county in the country. You know, to get that award, I had to go out to Nashville, Tennessee and give a presentation at a national policy summit on best practices for local governments. And when I came off stage, they gave us the award and said, "You guys are the gold standard." Last but not least, yesterday we broke ground on a Chick-fil-A. Really, the AAA gets nothing. The Chick-fil-A. Go ahead, give yourselves a round of applause. Chick-fil-A is coming. Say thank you very much. In closing, it's been my extreme high honor to serve the people of this county and serve alongside my colleagues. And I won't take any more of your precious time this evening. Goodson is a special place. Why? Because of the people. The citizens in this county are extremely engaged. The citizens of this county volunteer like crazy and donate money like crazy. And Goodson takes care of its own. And it's a real special place with a special sauce. And when I went and gave that presentation, they said, "How did Goodson catch lightning in a bottle?" And I said, "It's really the people." And it doesn't go much further than that. So our goal tonight is to conclude in a reasonable hour before anybody dozes off. There are restrooms outside. There's some cookies and refreshments over to the side. If you feel moved to do either, feel free to do that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and invite our county administrator, Mr. Vic Carpenter, to come up and present that draft budget that I talked about earlier. Vic?
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Mr. Peterson mentioned cookies. He didn't tell you that these are products of our elementary, our high school culinary arts program. And these cookies are amazing. So let me just say that if you haven't had the cookies, you need to get some. And thanks again to the programs that our high school is running over there. If you ever have a chance to go there and see them, I think you'll really be impressed with what they do. Tonight, I'm here to talk to you about Goshen County, and it's a great story to tell. And I'm going to be giving you about a 30 to 20,000 foot view of this budget because it's a draft budget still. And it's important for us to hear from you, for your supervisor to hear from you. The details that we have tonight, I want to hear your thoughts. We have stuff online as well. So as we go forward with this, you know, just got to be thinking about the kind of a community we are and what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish here when we are in Goshen County. Now, you know, to begin with in Goshen County, when you're an organization that embraces transparency, events like this, they're fun, they're enjoyable. And so tonight I'm going to paint you a picture, and it's a picture with numbers and statistics. It's a story about commitments made and promises kept. It's a story about people's values, drive, and determination. So where does the story start? Well, it starts with what's important, and that's our priorities. A budget has to have a framework, boundaries that it stays within. Those guide you when you build a budget. Now, this budget you're going to see tonight stays true to our values, our policies, our goals, and our objectives. It's consistent with the board's strategic plan. It meets or exceeds all the financial policies set by the board, and it maintains a conservative approach to budgeting. This budget will continue to expand our commitment to public safety service levels. It'll maintain competitive employee compensation levels. It'll keep our utilities self-sufficient and support our general operations by providing the necessary additional resources to those areas that are affected by growth. So, what are we going to accomplish with this budget? Well, let's start with very basic fundamentals. Goshen's economy does remain strong. Housing permits continue to stay strong. Commercial, retail buildings picked up and signs aren't really slowing down at this point. So because of that, we do in fact continue to meet all these established policies of the board that Mr. Peterson was talking about. In this budget, we propose there'll be no increases in real estate tax rates, and in fact, we're working to lower some. This budget will keep public safety and education a priority. In fact, public safety and education account now for almost 50% of every dollar we spend in Goshen County. In this budget, we continue to invest in our future, with education leading the way. Now, because of this budget, we remain competitive as well with our regional peers. The costs of living and market adjustments are employee salaries. So, start talking money, start talking numbers there. We start at the very highest levels, and okay, we're going to start with revenue. So the assessed value of our county continues to grow. As you heard Mr. Peterson saying, we are a growing county. This is because of a combination of new development and growth in our existing property values. Now, when all of our funds are included, Gucci County will operate on $140 million this year, total, all across the board. And that money comes from a variety of sources, but taxes are by far the largest source. And we just saw a second ago where that comes from, our assessed values. When you take out the funds not part of the general fund of the county, so that's going to be your utilities, your schools, your CIP, and your special funds, you end up with a general fund of about $86 million. Now, it helps to understand where these numbers come from that I'm showing you. We start in December, and we start looking at all the known data that we have. That's going to be building permits, assessment values, growth rates. It's going to be projected future events like things that we know are going to happen: recessions, inflation, economic booms or busts. Taking all this information together, we then have to project what's going to happen 18 months from now. Unfortunately, they don't sell crystal balls, or at least none that work. So we have to put all this together and then do our best to come up with a good, sound estimate of where we're going to be in 18 months. So we have to be very careful and deliberate when we estimate these revenues and figures. That's one reason why we're so conservative in what we do in trying to estimate revenues. So let's talk numbers. We're going to start at the highest level. The total spending for all government funds in Gucci County is $140 million. It's a lot of money. However, most of that doesn't go to what your average person would think is actual county government, when they see county government. Most of that money goes to schools, debt, utilities, and capital improvements. The county's general fund, our operating expenditures, amount to about $51 million. Of that, public safety and our courts equal almost 50% of the total. Now, when you talk about where the growth in our budget is coming from, the overall all funds budget increases by about 11.5% from last year to this year. But as you're going to see, the vast majority of that growth is happening in two areas. It's happening in public safety, and it's happening in our school-related construction and progress, CIP account. So, I said that public safety is a priority to us, and growth was where a lot of our growth is occurring. So let's look at this right here and get a little better understanding of that. All county funds grew by a total of 11.5%. The general fund, that part that's not schools and debt and utilities, it grew by 9.5%, about $4.4 million. But of that $4.4 million growth, $3.4 million is for public safety, and $950 is for everything else. So in the county's general fund, our support of public safety grew by 18.1%. All other general funds grew by a combined total of 3.4%. So what do we do? What are we accomplishing with this growth in our public safety support? We're going to be funding 9 new positions in public safety this year, 6 in our fire and rescue, 2 sheriff's deputies, and 1 emergency communicator. We're also going to be funding regionally competitive increases in the pay scales to sheriff's deputies, fire and rescue employees. In addition, we're having an additional competitive adjustment for our emergency communicators on top of that, in order to attract and retain those critical first responders that we have to have. We're also adding a new fire truck. We're adding a new brush truck, 8 new sheriff's vehicles, and the initial funding for the West Creek Fire Station upon approval. So let's talk about schools for a second. This overall budget of $140 million allocates a total of about $60 million for schools. The school's general fund is about $40.7 million, with an additional $19 million in CIP projects. Of that $40.7 million, Gucci County's local contribution equals about $26.7 million. That's an increase of 4.9% from last year. But when you look at the overall reductions they've had to take in other areas of their funds and revenues, their total budget only grows by 0.3% from last year to this year. Dr. Rose is going to discuss their budget in great detail. So I just wanted to show and share how responsible they had been in putting their budget together for the county. So let's move on to the next largest fund the county has, our utilities fund. In Gucci County, utilities are an enterprise fund of the county. So an enterprise fund is essentially a standalone business unit of the county. It must operate on its own, It cannot have a subsidy from the taxpayers. Revenues must equal expenses. So this year's revenue projections include a previously approved increase of 3% for water, 4% for sewer, and 5.5% for connection fees. The vast majority of their expenses go to pay the debt incurred by the Tuckahoe Creek Service District and to keep their ongoing CIP projects on track. The remaining growth in their operational costs really just relate to the growth in health insurance, salary adjustments, and inflationary pressures on them. And let's talk about our CIP. So the Gucci County, about some years ago, Gucci County adopted a 25-year CIP plan. That's construction and project. That's our major capital expenses. It's about a $612 million plan that they've adopted. That includes fire stations, schools, courthouses, and necessary expenses that we have to incur in order to maintain our ability to provide services to our citizens. This CIP is updated and revised every year as circumstances and events warrant. And it's intended to ensure that we are able to keep providing our educational needs, our public safety needs, court services, and general county functions. So this year's spending of about $25 million is an increase of 53% from last year, over $8 million growth. The vast majority is going to education. The new Gucci Elementary is going to be receiving $15 million, and HVAC work at the high school receiving $4 million. It's about $19 million going to support the projects that are currently underway at the school system. So, what does this budget accomplish? Well, they said the true measure of a community's value is how you spend your money. So this budget, here's what you're going to see us spending our money on. Number one, it continues to meet the extraordinarily high financial standards that we set for ourselves. And by doing so, we're ensuring that Gucci remains America's smallest AAA rated community. This budget provides the market-based salary adjustments to staff to reflect the competitive and challenging market we find ourselves in. This budget keeps public safety a top priority, with 9 new positions, new vehicles, and safety gear being added, also giving them market competitive salary adjustments that allow us to retain, and recruit and attract the kind of men and women that we need to have serving us and protecting us. This budget ensures that education remains a high priority, with a $1.2 million increase in our local funding and a $19 million investment in school-related CIP projects. This budget includes funding to ensure that necessary studies related to understanding, guiding, and managing the growth that is coming to us are undertaken. And this budget maintains the line on property tax rates, continuing to focus on ways to actually reduce some of those taxes. So, what are some of the things we still have ahead of us that we still have to be aware of? Well, county staff will continue to monitor the economy. I don't need to tell you that it's a different world we're in than we were some years ago. Economic winds are changing, so we want to assure our community of our constant focus on the changes that could affect us. We will continue to work to understand how public safety needs to be positioned in order to deal with the growth that we're blessed with. Currently, there's a fire survey going out that you can participate in, and it's going to be mentioned later on in this presentation. We're going to remain focused on growth in our educational needs. We're going to stay strong allies to our school district team. We're going to be forced to deal with the mandates that are delivered to us from Washington and Richmond. Mandates to take money out of our citizens' pockets to go to directions that we maybe didn't choose to, but we have to be aware and prepared for that. Gucci County is in an enviable position compared to almost anyone else. It's because we remain vigilant to the threats surrounding us that we're able to remain so. So our promise to our citizens is that we will always take seriously the sacred trust that we guard. We'll remain ever watchful for it. Over. So this is just the beginning of the budget. It's not the end. Upcoming, you can see the events we have 3 events in March, 2 more town halls, and we have a CIP workshop, transportation workshop in March as well. April 4th, we have a public hearing on these, and then April 18th, the actual adoption of this budget by the Board of Supervisors. So citizens have 5 more opportunities to visit, hear, and learn about this budget and what's going to be happening. So that's the 10,000, 20,000 foot view of what this budget does and what it accomplishes. What else is going on in Gucci County? Well, first I want to have I always like to put in pictures of dogs and cats and kittens. So I always got to stick them in. Gucci County Animal Shelter is open Tuesday through Saturday. Go by sometime and see if you can find a new friend. What else is going on here? Well, I want to start by reminding you about the bond referendum in 2021. Our citizens approved this bond referendum by 85%. What that will do is that will allow us to build that courthouse Mr. Producer talked about, the elementary school, allow us to build a new fire station, work at the high school and other projects throughout this county. Currently, the elementary school is already underway. High school parking lot, Bulldog Way to be completed. West Street Fire Station is almost in the final stages of approval. Also coming up, we have our Also coming up is our broadband expansion. It was only about a year and a half ago that broadband expansion in Houston County was really rolled out. But already Firefly has built over 82 miles of fiber on the CDEC system. Over 890 different addresses now have access to high-speed cable that they did not have 2 years ago. Port 80 has completed its expansion in the Crozier area and is wrapping up its final installations. Ultimately, over 320 miles of fiber will be installed by Firefly, with over 3,500 new connections possible. Also, our village plans update. These small area plans are starting to wrap up the final stages of it. Community updates will be held in March to present the current state of the plans. The Timmons Group is on board to bring these plans home. Planning Commission and board will have public hearings in late springtime, and these plans will provide regulating principles that will help identify what's appropriate development in these areas, and also will balance the unique character and nature and preserve the parts of Goochland that make us special, make us so important. Other things that are happening, updates for some of our capital projects, our utilities force main replacement. It's already begun. It's an $8+ million project. Affected homeowners have been contacted with detailed explanation of how the project's going to affect them. We anticipate the final stage being finished in March of 2024. Of course, supply chains can always affect any capital project, as you know, but that's well underway right now. Also want to talk about some of our transportation projects that are currently underway. The traffic circle on Fairgrounds Road in the courthouse area. If you've been to that area, you know it's underway right now. It's scheduled to be complete October of 23. The extension, the Fairgrounds Road extension, preliminary work is underway to cost it out and basic design guidelines. We hope that we can advertise construction sometime in the spring of 2025. And the Fairgrounds Road safety study is completed, and the board had it presented to them last night. Additional work coming up. Route 288 Broad Street intersection improvement study. This is the project that again will help us better understand what needs to be done at that intersection to continue to ensure that it's a safe intersection for people to use. And the Oilville I-64 roundabout, $4 million in funding has been received from the federal government on that. We're working currently to try to find the rest of the funding necessary, as well as do some of the design work that will be possible that we can start as soon as we can secure that. And then the Ashland Road DDI, the Divergent Diamond intersection. Goochland County is exceptionally committed to this project. We've already secured significant funding for it, and we work to continue to identify and secure the rest. Right now, we're on schedule for construction to be beginning with before or by 2028. The park and ride on Ashland Road, if you use it, construction should begin in 2025 to realign and replace it. The Hockett Road realignment, the funding has been secured. Engineering begins this year, 23, and construction should begin in 26. And some final things. Countywide litter cleanup day. Encourage everybody with an interest and a passion in keeping this county the beautiful place it is. Please participate and take part in that. You see the details on it. Same thing I mentioned earlier, the fire engagement study. If you can go online, or if you want to grab the QR code later, talk to some of our representatives for fire safety, but we're trying to get the public's input into where we need to be as a fire rescue service as we go forward in time. And then really very important too is engagement and involvement with you, our citizens. You know, your county staff understands the importance that's placed on each one of them in ensuring that our dreams of great Goochland County are realized. So what you give us is a trust, as a gift, and we want to hear from you. Those are various ways that we can hear from you. You can go online to the county website and sign up for announcements, and they'll be sent to your phone or your email. On Facebook, the Code Red. If you're not a member of Code Red, strongly encourage you to do so. When disasters or large events occur that we need to notify people, it's a great way to do it. Our Twitter account, of course, the Sheriff's app. If you don't have that, you really need to have the app on your phone. The Sheriff's app is right there as well. You can participate in our monthly Board of Supervisors meetings. You can go online and see everything. the end of the day, this is a county that believes in transparency, believes in involvement of our citizens. We are who we are because of you, our citizens. And with that, I appreciate your opportunity that you give me to speak tonight, and I will turn it over to Dr. Rayleigh for his comments.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to see you this evening. Appreciate your time and being here. It's really a pleasure to serve as your superintendent. I'm finishing 7 years as the proud superintendent here in Goochland County. And my goal for tonight is to share a little bit about our school division that maybe you don't know. Any good teacher sets an objective at the beginning of the lesson. So I'm hoping by the time we leave here today, you know more about Goochland County Public Schools than maybe you did when you walked in the door. We're going to focus a little bit on budget tonight. And before I get into that process, do want to thank our community for the strong support that you provide for us. As Mr. Carpenter mentioned, there are significant dollars that are dedicated to public education in this proposed budget. And 68% of every source of revenue that we get to fund the operations of our school division come directly from the taxpayers of Goochland County. So this community has really had a strong history and tradition of strong support for public education. Our supervisors have continued that support and do want to provide some public accolades and thanks for that this evening. So I just wanted to standard set just for a moment and let the visitors here tonight who maybe don't know a lot about us, some things that are important to us as a school division. And just like any organization, we have a vision, a mission, and core values that we hold near and dear to our heart. So our school division for over 10 years now established a vision, and that's to inspire our next generation, our current students, to make a positive impact on the world around us. The students that we are educating now are the future leaders of this community, this state, this nation, and this world. So ultimately, we have a pretty important job to make sure that what we're doing is preparing for the future sustainability of our state and our nation. And then we're driven every day by maximizing the potential of each and every student that walks through the door of our school division. I'm proud to say that we are a public school division, and we take in every student who comes from 26 different homes. We provide an exceptional education for them and maximize their potential every day. And then we do have some core non-negotiable beliefs: excellence, courage, honor, optimism, and creativity. We don't negotiate on that. That's who we are, that's what we believe in, and that is essential to the work that we do every day. And then the school division revised the strategic goals of 2019 related to the environment that we want to create as a school division, important metrics that hold us all accountable. So I'm proud to say tonight that our public school division has a lot that we have done, and we are certainly proud of the accomplishments that we have. When you think about the metrics that measure success in public education, the Goochland County Public Schools has set the bar and continues to strive for continued excellence. We're never satisfied with what we're doing. We're always trying to do even better than we already are. So we are a proud school division with 5 Apple Distinguished Schools, less than 700 worldwide. And so we've been recognized for technology integration and how we're providing technology tools to students, support really strong instruction taking place in the classrooms. The #1 school division in the Richmond metro region for 5 years in a row, beating Chesterfield and Hanover and all those big boys and girls to the east and the south. We continue to show success on a variety of metrics 5 years in a row, and it's all done with the amazing staff that we have. We are strong stewards of your taxpayer dollars and been recognized by an external third party, the Government Finance Officers Association, for our budget presentation and our transparency and how we articulate our school division's needs to our community in a very positive way. And so thanks to the staff who make all of that possible. And then ultimately, you ask yourself, okay, well, that's well and good, but are students learning? Oh yeah, they are. And so we are held accountable by the Virginia Department of Education for a variety of measures. We call it accreditation. And so we are one of 10 school divisions for over 10 years that have been fully accredited. And keep in mind, there are 132 school divisions in the Commonwealth, and we are in elite company. So we are getting results. We always like to compare ourselves to our neighbors. And so on a variety of metrics, including SOL results, we continue to be in the upper echelon here in the region and across the state. And so we exceed the state average in all 4 core content areas. And I believe that we will do the same again this year. So ultimately, we want students to graduate. All this is well and good if kids, we got to get them across the stage as bulldogs and get on to the next stage as what they're doing in their life. And so we have an extremely high on-time graduation rate. We're hovering at 97 and 98%. We're talking 1 or 2 kids to get us to that 100% level. And so we're committed to doing that. It's certainly a priority for our school division, but another metric that shows the strong success of our school division and what we're doing with your tax dollars. I shared this with the supervisors yesterday, and I haven't done this in the past because we kind of take for granted where our students are going. Students at Goochland High School have the opportunity to go to any college or university in this state or in this nation, and maybe even worldwide. And so this is a picture where our current seniors are going. You can see they're going to everywhere in the state, going across the nation, and going to the best colleges and universities in the land. So we're really proud of our graduates and the opportunities that are ahead of them. We also have one student who is going to the Coast Guard Academy. It's the first time in the history of our junior ROTC program that we have had a cadet that has received a direct appointment to one of the service academies. Extremely proud of Josh. And so another accomplishment too is in athletics. We have state champions. We have all-state performers in volleyball and football. And we have 2 young men who have received a Division I football scholarship and are going to continue their athletic career at the next level. So all that being said, we're strong and successful. We're getting results. We're doing a great job in the classroom. But you know what? If we don't continue to evolve and improve and grow, we're going to continue to get the same results. Well, we're not satisfied. We want to continually grow and strive for continued excellence. And so there are needs that are identified in our school division budget. What I'm going to share with you tonight is the school board's approved budget, now in consideration by the Goochland County supervisors for their consideration. So hopefully this video will show. What I want to do in this video is unpack and give you a chance to see some of the things that we're doing in our classrooms on a daily basis. As I said, we have been identified as a leader in instruction in the Commonwealth. And so I'm hoping that you get a chance to see some of the things that are happening in our classrooms on a daily basis.
Goochland is unique and special in so many ways. Begin and our people. We have amazing talented individuals who are serving our communities on a regular basis. Talented professionals who are dedicated to supporting excellence. Awesome experience that we had, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on stage, whether it's on the athletic field. We want our students to have a great experience. And of course, that starts with people that work with professionals.
Townhalls Elementary School is, you just get this feeling of walking in the door of happiness. Everyone's welcome, everyone's included. From the moment you hit the office, we're excited to see you. When you enter your classroom, the teacher welcomes you with a smile. We make sure that we personalize experiences for everyone.
So teaching and learning at Randolph is really based on student experience. So when we sit down to talk about what that can look like, we start with the needs of the student. So first and foremost, we start with building relationships, obviously. I think that's where everything should start for a foundation. So our teachers start the year by team building with their team building across different classrooms. So each year they started doing all different kinds of pieces of projects just to kind of show them that they're a unit. So you might have one assigned teacher, but we're all there. I think if I had to pick just one name, it would
All right. Well, that's the danger of going off site where you may not have the best internet. I think you saw enough in that video that kind of shows that's what's happening in classrooms every day in our school division. And so we randomly went and just captured video one day. And what did you see in that video? You saw students who are collaborating. You saw students who are engaged. You saw students who are coding using robots. You saw technology in use in a variety of settings. And so ultimately, this school division budget is based on the people who we need to continue to do that every day in our school division. So again, there are amazing things that are happening day in and day out, and I'm hoping that you got a chance to see just a little bit of what we're doing in our classrooms every day. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Appreciate that. It wasn't changing over there. All right, so this budget presentation is organized into couple different areas, and this is the second goal area identified by our school division, and it does directly relate to the people of our organization. And as the county has referenced, we need to remain competitive in our salaries and make sure that we can continue to keep the great folks doing the work of our school division and attract others. This is a growth opportunity for our school division, and we continually experience some challenges from a market competitiveness standpoint. We want to make sure that we have the best teachers in the classroom, and we have some continued work to do, make sure that we're able to do that in the future. So we're experiencing some tensions when it comes to being able to retain a workforce and attract a workforce. And, you know, public education gets a lot of attention in 2023, and we just want to make sure that we're still have the best teachers who are in the classroom doing great things. Many of our teachers drive a long distance to come and work for us. And so with gas prices that are rising and inflationary pressures, we want to make sure that we continue to provide that environment where folks want to be a part of. So our school division budget does include a raise for our employees, just like the county. It is a market competitive raise so that we can continue to have great folks doing the work of our school division. Here's a summary of goal 2 in our school division budget. This is the greatest expenditure in our budget because of the people who do the work. It is a people heavy organization. So $1.8 million in new money going to support our instructional objectives. Goal 3 in our school division strategic plan is related to our facilities and our operations. And so we have some dollars dedicated towards that in the budget. The total of $352,000, most of that related to inflationary pressures that we're experiencing just based on the economy. As I shared with the supervisors yesterday, we don't build a budget and just say, here's our baseline, we need all this in addition. We scrub each and every budget line, and we've made some adjustments to our budget where we've reduced some things that we feel that we can use those dollars differently to make sure that we have resources to accomplish our strategic objectives. We call it strategic abandonment. And so this budget does include over $400,000 in reductions in current expenditures that we can use to be able to accomplish the needs that we have in our school division budget moving forward. And so in summary, the school budget, as referenced by Mr. Carpenter, is only $104,451 greater next year than it is this year. A lot of that is attributed to what you see in the red at the top. We have come up to the funding cliff from federal revenue, and we haven't fallen over. A lot of grant funds have been received in the past. Those funds are going to expire, but we've been able to make some really smart strategic decisions in reducing almost 14 individuals that were grant funded that will not be grant funded in the future. And overall, we're reducing 9.5 positions as a result of some of those strategic decisions that we've made. And the budget is just a negligible 0.3% higher next year than it is this year. And that's significantly attributed to that loss in federal revenue. But our Guzman County community has picked up the tab for us and continues to support us greatly. Overall, in this budget, 78% of every dollar is dedicated to the classroom, goes directly to support instruction in the classroom with our teachers, technology, and the resources needed to support our instructional objectives. If you slice and dice our expenditures a different way, salary and benefits contribute to 84% of the overall budget. Again, it's the people that do the work and the dollars are dedicated to our staff. And so ultimately, we rely heavily, as I said, on the locality for our support. So the county transfer, as Mr. Carpenter referenced, is proposed to be $1.251 million in addition to what it currently is, which is 68% of our overall revenue stream. And so this is a balanced budget. School board takes great pride in presenting a balanced budget to the Board of Supervisors for their consideration. And again, when you look at all the different funding streams, federal revenue, state revenue, and local revenue, it is just a negligible increase year over year to just slightly over $100,000. So I'm really excited about our capital plan. As you heard earlier, the county is dedicating a lot of money to support our ongoing facility and capital needs. So this is a picture of our recent groundbreaking at the new Goochland Elementary School, which is slated to open in August of 2024. And I will tell you, they are working like gangbusters. Every time I drive by that site, there is something new that is happening. They have a portion of the building that is already prepared. The dirt and the site is prepared. They're ready to start bringing in concrete. digging footers and all that kind of stuff. So it is coming along extremely nicely. We fully expect we're going to be able to open this on time, ready to go for new students in the 24-25 school year. These pictures are old. This is just about a week or two ago. And if you drive by the site now, you're not going to see any trees on site. You're not going to see any brush laying around. They are moving like crazy. And so the site is really well prepped and prepared. And so we want to start to see some concrete, and I think they're trying to get steel erected probably in May. So we're going to see some significant changes. This thing's going to come out of the ground before too long. So just a few things that you may not see as you drive by. That is an aerial. So we have a camera that we've installed on site. We want to try to provide some ongoing pictures to our community so that you can see this construction project happen in real time over the course of the next several months. So just a few more pictures of the site and how it's really evolved over time. So we're grateful to our community for supporting this project. Thankful to the supervisors for bringing it home for us in January and making it all happen. So a lot of great things are happening in our school division. Again, I'm proud to serve alongside some really dedicated and talented professionals. We have at least one teacher in the room today. Our staff does amazing work for our students, and really proud of what we're doing. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
If you have a question, I'd ask you to come up and speak to the mic so that anybody at home can see who's asking the question and so they can hear it as well. Thank you all very much. Cookies.
Thank you, Dr. Rowley, and thank you. Look, the budget season can be fraught with peril depending on how well the two boards get along, the school board and the board of supervisors. I don't know how many of you have seen how other counties do it in this state or other states, but it can be a real trepidation to go through, a real minefield to go through that process. Hopefully, one of your takeaways tonight is that you've seen how well the two boards work together and cooperate, and the communication back and forth, because the beneficiaries are the students and the citizens of Goochland County. And that's one of the reasons why it's been a pleasure to serve on this board. And we have an open and honest dialogue, and whatever they need, they ask. Evidently, they haven't asked for enough money for their information technology, and there's easier ways to ask for it than to come out here tonight and go, oops. But no, thank you for everything you guys do in the schools. The next thing I want to do real quick, as the shadows grow longer on my career, some folks ask, well, how'd you get started? And one of the things that got me started in this whole thing years and years and years ago was the thing called the Goochland Leadership Enterprise. Do we have any graduates here tonight of the GLE? Look at this. Holy smokes. Wow. We also have the fellow who can take all the credit for the GLE is Mr. Pete Williams. Pete, would you like to either stand or come up and let us know what's going on with the GLE these days?
Thank you. We start our 25th year next October. GLE is a program for citizens. GLE is a program for citizens to learn more about the county. And I do see an awful lot of faces here that have been in the earlier classes. It's 13 sessions. We start in October. We'll end with a graduation event in April. You will meet the supervisors. You will meet school folks, fire rescue with the explanation of the budget. More budget process rather than numbers. Numbers always change. But it's an excellent program. A lot of folks put a lot of time in it. You will meet a lot of folks. And I'll be around in the back if you're interested in getting a brochure. It's an excellent program. You saw the hands that went up. A lot of people have been through it, and we'd love to have you for next year. Thank you.
He's done a wonderful job for a very long time doing that. Be careful. What the program is it gives you exposure to virtually every area of the county. Just virtually, you can do a sheriff's ride along, you can go down to the General Assembly, see how they do it. But you got to be a little bit careful because you might find something that you're interested in, and then 12 years later, you'll say, how did I get here? Well, that's how you get started. So, but feel free, it's an excellent course. I highly recommend it. And in addition to the GLE, we have another great program in the county called the Sheriff's Academy. And if you have any interest at all in public safety, law enforcement, I highly recommend going through that. It is a great program, and I went through that one as well, and kind of got tricked a little bit, because when I was considering running for office, folks want to know who I was. They said, you know what? You should do the sheriff's academy. I said, okay, fine, I'll do the sheriff's academy. I showed up for the first day. I said, I am here to do the sheriff's academy. Okay, go over there and get fingerprint. We need to do a background check. All right, somebody got me. But fortunately, passed the background check and off it went. So, but I highly recommend it. It's a great program. Both of them are great programs. So at this point, are there any other questions tonight? You've been very generous with your time and paid attention. We've got cookies waiting for you at the end as a reward. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I'm not getting on camera. I have a question about the East End Trail System. This is something that was supposedly funded, designed, and was going to be built the year after next before COVID. Is it still there? Is it gone? Just a question.
The East End Trail is very definitely still there. Funding has been secured to be part of it. It's in a design stage for, but it is definitely still there. It will happen.
Thank you. How long?
Hi, you mentioned the strategic plan at the very beginning of the presentation. When was the last time we had an update to the strategic plan? And when can we expect another update?
The county strategic plan went through 2018. So it's time for a revised one. The Board of Supervisors has made that one of their priorities as we start working on updating the strategic plan. But we currently are operating under that strategic plan still. It's still in effect, it's still valid, it's still good.
I represent Randolph Square this evening. Can I ask what's been the total cost of that sewage? There are three attempt line which runs along River Road. And can I also ask, now we're having a third go at it, what kind of warranty are the contractors providing? So you don't have a fourth go at it.
First, Matt.
Would anyone else like to take that question? I've got the microphone. Yes, a great question. First of all, I'm Matt Longshore. I'm Director of Public Utilities. I appreciate that question. The total cost of that contract is just under $8 million. So it was 7.997, I believe, is what we awarded back in December. As far as today, I'll try to answer the second question. Our standard contracts for our projects carry a year past final completion. So if the project's complete in March of next year, I believe that's when we have it in for completion. It will go to March 2025. So just so you know, this pipeline will be a 42-inch HDPE pipeline. It's going to be 3 inches thick as the wall of the pipe. So that's going to be pushed through the existing pipe, and the annular space around that pipe will be grouted in place. So this will be a pipeline within a pipeline within a pipeline. So hopefully we're not going to have any further issues with this pipeline for many, many decades to come. So hopefully that gets you resting easy.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
My question is about the Senate small village plan. A lot of us have spent an enormous amount of time with providing information to the county about where we think it should go, especially with the density issue that seems to be out of line with what we were expecting in a village plan. When can we expect to see the kind of draft of that?
Great question, appreciate it. And the village plan's been going on now for about a year, and a lot of citizen involvement has been received, a lot of input has been received. as we bring it home, that input is in front of the consultants, what the comments were, what the written comments, the spoken comments. They reviewed every one of the public meetings and forums that we've had to make sure that we do not lose those comments. As the plan gets to a stage where it's about ready to start going in front of boards and planning commission, it will be shared with the community to see it. So you'll have, it will be out there again in March, April timeframe. Early springtime. It will be out there for the public to see them, and then in front of the board and the planning commission as well in late spring.
So Crystal and Madison, I think that's a great question that you asked, and for clarification, Deputy County Administrator. Well aware of the fact that we missed the mark with how citizen input was highlighted in our current proposed plans for both areas. It was much more glaring in the Centerville area. One thing we've been talking about, and we're very pleased that we're already starting to see, is making sure that we're focusing on a regulating plan that is flexible and a framework that focuses on building height in relation to space and place, not focusing solely on density, much more focus on park places, not just the concept of a green space, public amenities, things that are also needed for the quality of life. We are planning that there will be a community update, and as Mr. Carpenter said, Timmons Group has been going through many hours of video footage. Obviously, they've gone through the existing drafts. They have been working to put all that together. They will be having discussions with the board, the planning commission, and there will also be the community update prior to public hearings. But again, there's not going to be the hardline focus on density, and it will be Goochland centric, where when you look at visuals, you'll be able to tell what intersection that is.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the formal portion of this presentation for this evening. But all the members of staff will stay around and be able to answer any individual questions that you might have. And on your way out, feel free to help yourself with some cookies. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. Hopefully, everyone learned something. Is it a good venue? Is it a good venue to have these? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Should we continue to have town halls? Is this a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We like the cookies. All right, everybody, thank you for coming. Please drive home safely. I don't know if this is deer season or not, but just be careful, be safe. Otherwise, travel home and God bless.